The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
And good morning, Kern County. It is 5 o'clock on this Thursday morning. I'm Alex Fisher alongside Maddie Gannon. We begin with breaking news from overnight. An investigation is underway after a person was hit and killed in North Bakersfield. According to the California Highway Patrol, it happened just after 10:30 on James Road near North Chester Avenue. Video shows the area taped off shortly before the coroner arrived. No word yet on how the crash happened or if drugs or alcohol were involved. The person who was killed has not been identified. An intense crash in Southwest Bakersfield last night ended with one car on top of the other. It happened just before midnight on Bell Terrace and New Stein Road. The video shows at least one person being carried away in a stretcher. We're still waiting to hear what led up to the crash and the extent of that person's injuries. We'll have the latest on our website, kget.com.
In your 17 Court Watch now, Kern County Department of Human Services will not release CPS reports pertaining to California's city boys, Orrin and Orson West, after prosecutors said their release could jeopardize criminal proceedings against the boys' adoptive parents. DHS late yesterday afternoon provided two one-page forms sent to the State Department of Social Services after law enforcement determined the boys died from abuse. The forms, one issued for each child, say the date of the boy's death is unknown. The boys were removed from their biological parents following suspected child abuse and placed with Trezell and Jacqueline West in 2018. The West murder trial is expected to begin next week. And former Bakersfield City Council candidate Raj Gill was formally charged yesterday with 7 counts of solicitation to commit a criminal act. Gill was arrested earlier this month for allegedly approaching several people and offering them money to shoot people he was involved in a dispute with, and to set fire to a Sikh temple. Shahid Temple board members filed a restraining order against Gill in November of 2022, saying he continually disrupted temple services. Gill is out on $60,000 bail, and he will be in court tomorrow.
5:05 is your time now, and dozens of city workers protested in front of Bakersfield City Hall yesterday, fighting for what they call fair and livable wages. These public workers say they haven't had a living wage increase in over 10 years and are paid far less than other city workers who have similar jobs in comparable cities. Workers say the city rejected the proposal for $3,000 bonus pay, holiday pay, bilingual pay, and more. In response to the protests, the city of Bakersfield said, quote, "The city of Bakersfield has been meeting with union leadership about a new agreement. Those negotiations are ongoing. The city will not comment any further on these negotiations."
Despite yesterday's inclement weather, there was a big show of support for the Golden Empire Gleaners Food Drive. It started dark and early at 5 a.m. and continued until 6:30. A steady stream of cars were dropping off non-perishable food items all day long, along with cash donations. Executive Director Debbie Power says they filled 3 trucks with your food donations.
Me feel wonderful, but it's also just fantastic to see the look on their faces to give. That is what's truly beautiful.
We'll have a final tally of donations later today, but Powers believes we collected more food and money than last year. You can still donate online to the Gleaners. You can find a link to them on our website, kget.com. Thanks to all of you who gave in the spirit of the Golden Empire.
In health news this morning, the federal government will no longer cover the cost of COVID vaccines as Moderna increases their prices. Those looking for the Moderna vaccine could soon be paying around $130 a dose. According to U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders, the feds have spent nearly $2 billion to help develop the vaccine, which made the company billions in profit. The U.S. government paid Moderna between $15 and $26 a dose and made them available at no cost.
And making news around the nation this morning, the waiting game drags on outside a New York City courthouse, where protesters and others are wondering when and if Donald Trump will become the first president ever charged with the crime. The grand jury hearing evidence in the case did not meet yesterday as expected, but they will reconvene later today. New York prosecutors are probing whether the former president had a role in hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Mr. Trump has called the investigation a witch hunt.
All right, do you use the social media app TikTok? About 150 million Americans do, but privacy issues and concerns about the company that owns TikTok have some lawmakers threatening to ban it in the U.S. altogether. Its CEO is expected to testify today in front of Congress. NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest this morning from Washington.
TikTok under the microscope and its CEO in the hot seat.
I'll be testifying before Congress.
Appearing before the House Commerce Committee to answer questions about the wildly popular social media app. It comes as lawmakers on both sides of the aisle push for major changes with TikTok's ownership structure or even an outright ban.
We need to ask some questions. I don't trust what they've been telling us.
TikTok is owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, driving fears China's ruling Communist Party could force the company to give up the private data of 150 million Americans or use the app to push disinformation to unwitting users.
1/6 of American youth say they're constantly on TikTok. That's a loaded gun.
Now this comes at a pivotal moment for us.
TikTok's CEO is expected to tell members of Congress the company has implemented strict controls to keep young users, especially teens, safe, trying to head off concerns the Chinese government can access user information. Claiming in his opening remarks the app sends all American user data to tech giant Oracle, keeping American data stored on American soil by an American company overseen by American personnel.
TikTok has given me and countless others like me the opportunity to showcase our talents and make a living doing what we love.
People who use TikTok to make money lobbied lawmakers not to ban the app, but even some users have mixed feelings.
I try to avoid it, but it's so entertaining and it just gets you addicted, but I don't think it's good for you. We should be reading more books, stuff that makes us smarter.
The federal government has banned TikTok from all of its devices. Some members of Congress have introduced legislation to regulate foreign-owned social media apps, but TikTok does have at least one ally in Congress. It's New York Representative Jamal Bowman. He calls the hype around TikTok fear-mongering and says he hasn't seen any evidence that China is using it to spy on Americans. In Washington, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Now from your 17 follow-up file, hundreds of dogs are killed every month in Kern because our local shelters are bursting at the seams. The Bakersfield Animal Care Center kills on average 200 dogs a month. And the problem is only being made worse by our recent storms. 17's Marco Torres continues his ongoing coverage of Kern's dog crisis.
The Bakersfield Animal Care Center is overcrowded with lots of dogs, from puppies like baby Biscuit here to bigger and larger dogs. And it's going to take a village to fix this issue. The recent storms plaguing Kern have been tormenting our furry friends, many of which escaped their homes in the confusion.
So just like fireworks do during the holidays, the thunder scares the dogs. Some of them will run and hide, some of them will run and run and run so far that they don't remember where home is, so it scares them.
So if you're missing your pet, go to the local shelters around town. It's important you do it quickly because the shelters are already bursting at the seams. The shelters can't handle any more dogs. This is Kern's ongoing dog crisis. Because of the overflow of dogs, about 50 pups a week have to be euthanized. That leaves a big toll on the shelter's workers who have to choose who lives and who dies.
We here at staff kind of feel disheartened a little bit, as for the last 6 years we've been able to help more dogs walk out of the shelter alive for those 6 years, but our live release rate has kind of stayed steady. So even though we're saving more dogs, we're also euthanizing more dogs.
Many of the dogs that are put down are puppies and large breeds that can only stay in the shelter for a couple of weeks before they go stir crazy.
Used to be almost every puppy made it out of the shelter alive. That's not the case anymore.
Reporting from the Bakersfield Animal Care Center, Marco Torres, 17 News.
Happening later today, the Bakersfield National Cemetery is hosting its first unaccompanied veterans ceremony of the year. Organizers put on this event to memorialize veterans. who were buried without any known family, guaranteeing that they will be remembered after being laid to rest. Many of these veterans served in Vietnam. The ceremony starts at 10 a.m.
Making headlines around the state this morning, today marks day 3 of a massive school service workers' strike in Los Angeles. Thousands of district employees, including cafeteria workers, bus drivers, custodians, and special education assistants, left the job for the picket line this week. That means classes remain closed in the country's second largest school district. The Service Employees International Union is seeking a new contract that includes more money.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.